come to order. Will please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Secretary, if you'll call the roll. Here.
Here. John Marshall. Here. Dick Stoller. Here.
Here.
Jeremy, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Jeremy Cirozic.
All righty. With that done, we have minutes circulated. Anybody have any corrections or additions to the minutes?
I do have a question. I don't understand one line here. It's on page 5. It's 2/3 of the way down. It says Attorney Irac says the board should incorporate the shared access agreement as a contingency for all motions.
On all motions. Remember there was multiple motions we had.
Just for that, he's not talking about all motions going forward. He's just talking about this.
All those motions.
Specifically.
Just that
Okay, I just wanted to get some clarification. Okay.
Not a problem.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve this presented.
I have a motion by Mr. Sauerman for approval. I'll second it. Any further discussion? Mr. Secretary, if you'll call the roll.
Dan Rohealy.
Yes.
John Marshall.
Yes.
Dick Stoller.
Yes.
Jeremy Taylor.
Yes.
Yes. We have no old business. We go on to new business. First on is petition 25-28, I-65 Properties LLC and I-65 Beacon Hill Properties LLC petitioner/owner. Request is a variance from development standards. Purpose is to allow an encroachment of the side yard setback. Location is 651 West 109th Place. Russ, if you'll give us your name and address.
Hello, Russ Posen, DVG Teammate, 1155 Troutline Road, Point, Indiana, representing I-65 Properties and Partners. Also have Corey Dedmore here, who is part of the I-65 Properties team. Before you, we have a site plan here, but specifically we're talking about the site location immediately to the right here is the smaller one. It's a coffee, Dutch Brothers Coffee. And the reason why we're here for the variances is really to be consistent with several of these other developments in this Hill South subdivision, where we have 0 side yard setback because of a cross access, the drives, and then parking and driveway access, excuse me. So the west of 3B2 is going to be a 0 setback, reduced from the 10-foot, and then the same thing on the right, which is the east, which is adjacent to Texas Roadhouse, going from a 10-foot to a 0-foot setback. And again, we're requesting these for shared cross access and parking between 3B1 and 2. We are not requesting any shared parking between this development and lot 4, which is the Texas Roadhouse. Later on tonight, hopefully, we're requesting secondary plat approval. So that's the reason for this, is we want to carve out these lots so we can get this. Again, these various, we've submitted findings of fact consistent with the rest of the subdivision. Also for record, if you have questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Watson, staff report.
Petition requesting a variance from development standards to a setback encroachment of side yard setbacks for a shared drive aisle and shared parking at B3 business zone. 651 Place in the Chick-fil-A restaurant in Texas. Current side yard setback requirements of B3 business zone are 10 feet. The layout will eliminate shared side yard with proposed lots to create a shared drive aisle. Parcel is bordered by B3 business to the north and west, with I-1 industrial to the south. Support dependency by the planning department. All notices have been properly sent out by certified mail, and the notice has been published.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sauerman, any questions to the petitioner?
Well, I'm going to make a comment first of all. Conceptually, I have no issue with what you're attempting to do with the shared access. That makes sense to me. I have no concern with Dutch Brothers Coffee, but I'm a big Portillo's fan. I go Portillo's all the time, and I know all the restaurants around here, and they are busy. And I'm looking at this site data part of your survey, and it goes through the whole.
So that's.
It goes through the parking calculation here, and it shows that you'll have 42 spaces, but based on the number of employees, you're expected to have 73. So it looks like you're like 31 spaces short here. So am I missing something here? Can you explain this?
No, I don't think we have 73. So just for clarity's sake, there is no current deal with Portillo's. So any property to the west is, we anticipate a restaurant, but we don't have anything set in stone. So the Dutch Brothers has a smaller required parking, so any excess would get used for a future development to the west. So a little bit of clarity on your Dutch Brothers requirements. I think we're providing 42, and we only need.
No indoor seating.
Okay.
Correct.
It's
73 for the total. If just using this footprint and a future restaurant of that size, the 73 is the total required. The actual required for Dutch Brothers is 15, and we're providing 42 on that lot. So there's the excess to be used for a future development to the west. That's how we're trying to do that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still confused. I'm looking at this, and I counted the parking spaces. For Dutch Brothers, I see 25 spaces for this restaurant to be named. I count 42. And that's what shows on the site plan. It says parking provided, and it says Portillo's here. That's why I came up with the name Portillo's.
Yeah, that was.
Now, again,
an
you
old
know,
rendering.
if that's supposed to be public knowledge or is something that is not true any longer, fine. But I'm going to use them as an example, because if we're to be approving a variance here, then we have to be thinking about what kind of restaurant this could be. And since you brought Portillo's, and that's a busy type of restaurant, I think the parking issue is something that needs to be addressed. So, again, I'm still, can you go through that again, the parking spaces? Because again, I see 42 here, and that's what states here in the middle of this key here.
So we'll double check here. So. Right, so if I'm looking at this correctly, the Dutch Brothers has 29 parking spaces. There might have been some last minute shifts in the
Okay.
parking. I think we actually removed.
Oh, I missed
Two.
4 over here. You're right. You got it. That's 29.
Yeah,
Correct.
so we have 29.
Yep, yep.
And it's a required of 15.
Okay.
So just looking at that lot, the excess will get used for a future restaurant on the west. Obviously, calculation consideration for that west property will be along with stacking traffic patterns.
So if we don't have a named restaurant yet,
And when I did the initial design of this and with engineering and keeping parking in mind, this is very similar to place. Same sizing and everything that they have. So, I mean, these are reviewed by national users that have 2,000 locations across the country, and they actually give us their footprint with a parking and say, yes, they stamp it. It's gone through major approvals. All of that as well.
And to probably help alleviate your concern, I think where you're going here is you can see on both of on the site plan, there are 2 lanes for drive-through, which that, enables you to have quite a large backing capability, which is reason for, for parking and circulation issues. And the multiple entrances and to get into this facility, always helps, get people in and out, give them options so that there really isn't stacking.
so not to belabor this, but since you brought up Chick-fil-A, so Josh, do you have any idea off the top of your head how many parking spaces Chick-fil-A has for similar type of restaurant?
Not off the top of my head, we can try to do a quick look. It could be similar to actually what we public right there.
Okay,
I mean, just Off the top of my head, this looks.
Okay, and then I have one more question. I'll get off the parking right now, let other people address it if they wish. This reciprocal access agreement, has this, Attorney Irack, have you seen this and been part of this already? Okay, all right.
Yeah, we've submitted it to the city, obviously for review, but so basically what you get is draft.
All right, thank you.
Yep, and that's pretty consistent with obviously previous approvals, is that as long as it's in process, you have a chance to review, and then it gets recorded upon your recommendation of the other variances and approval of the plat and so on and so forth.
I mean, just one more comment before I give up, and that is, give up the floor, and that is the, I mean, if it is a Portillo's or Chick-fil-A type of restaurant, that's gonna be a lot of volume of vehicles going back onto 109th too. So do you have any type of study regarding
So
that?
to give you a little bit of background, when the subdivision was, the original subdivision, we actually did a traffic study, and all of these lots, we considered the, high intense, high uses to do the traffic study. So it wasn't like we just did a mythical traffic study. We assumed that all these would be this level of commercial development, these, quick serve restaurants and things of that nature, to make sure that the city would be comfortable with the subdivision as a whole, so that when these developments keep coming online, it's already addressed it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. O'Haley?
I guess that's my only concern, but I guess Portillo's and Dutch, whatever it is, coffee people, it's like coffee.
It's all geeked up.
People got OD on coffee.
I know.
Can you tell us that this piece of real estate can't support two businesses without any slop over onto 109th?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And like Corey said, you've done, or their national people have done it. They feel comfortable doing it. Not gonna have another, because like they said, any Portillo's to go by, they've always got parking, they'll get people ringing around.
And actually to
which
kind of,
is good.
of course.
Which I think it's evolved a lot more to today. I've been at Chesterton, all these other, and they're all, now I got pushed back on double lane drive-throughs, and I'm like, well, guys, that's what they are now. Like they're not, what Chick-fil-A, everybody has people standing outside now.
Yeah.
The other coffee user we approved last month, they're standing out there sliding
Right.
drinks out all day long. So, the mobile ordering, all of these double stacking, but you look at over 20 some cars. When I'm laying out these site plans, they're like, no, we need to show 5 more cars. And I'm like, guys, there's a ton right here. And they're like, but they do their homework on what they can do in volume and in a high traffic kitchen that they can handle it.
To expand on that too, I've been to the Chick-fil-A, obviously here in Crown Point, and the one in Maryville. The one here in Crown Point is their new product line, new prototype, dual lanes. It's efficiently set up. This one functions very, very quickly, very, very well. It keeps all traffic in their parking lot.
And as I mentioned on the coffee has no indoor seating. They're all going more towards very little indoor seating to do the volume for the mobile
Right.
ordering and to getting it.
All right, so you're gonna go on record and say we're not gonna have a slop over of people on 109th place or confident.
Well, when you guys have to park on 109th for the ribbon cutting, sure.
Look at him.
Well, that's a given.
There we
Yeah.
go. I'm gonna put that one
And
there.
actually, just to compound on to that, since the Chick-fil-A is open, as busy as they have been, that is actually, I have not received any complaints on it.
All right, we'll trust you guys.
Thank you.
I always have a hard time trying to put, one business probably would work, because those lots aren't really all that big.
It's
But
tough.
I understand as long as it's well laid out, it can function, and you guys have done it.
And I did very well with the Popeyes, in the med spa
Yeah,
layout and, how they circulate around these. And I do take it into consideration. I mean, I like lighting and I like, circulation. So I'm
Yeah.
really big on that when I help design this.
And the parking you feel is sufficient enough.
Yeah.
And the parking, they can't go over into Texas Roadhouse. Now, will they have to these two businesses have to keep their parking on the site per se.
Yes, yes,
They
that's.
can't
the-
slop over into the west or into Texas Road.
Correct, correct. That is
Everything
what
in
our
Texas
intent is.
Roadhouse is so successful that you don't want to mess them up.
No.
You know, so
Yep.
have people parking over.
That was a previous agreement.
Yep, that was a previous agreement, and we are just requesting, obviously, access.
All right, go ahead.
Mr. Marshall?
Well, I don't have any, I think this is pretty standard what we're doing in Crown Point now. It seems to be working. I agree with Mr. Haley. I don't know why we need all these coffee places. But, I won't pay, $6, $8 for a cup of coffee. I still,
Yeah.
I still go to Speedway and get
Yeah, there
every
you go.
seventh cup free, so.
There you go.
So, but hey,
Each their own.
it's great, but, I don't have an issue. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Taylor, any questions for the petitioner?
I don't have anything. I think with the variance they're requesting, the setback, it's perfect for this location, just like we've used along there. I appreciate the in-depth finding of facts and you guys providing us the shared access agreement ahead of time. So.
All right, this is a public meeting. If there's anyone here that'd like to speak to this petition, it'd be an opportunity to come forward. Or anyone online. Second opportunity to be heard. Third and final. Anyone online? Then we will close the public portion out and bring it back to the board for any further questions.
To approve petition 25-28.
Second motion.
And would that be with incorporating the?
Yeah, incorporating the REA real estate agreement for cross easements.
We have a motion by Mr. O'Haley for approval, subject to the incorporation of the agreement. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Sauerman. Any further discussions? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, if you'll call the roll.
Dan Haley,
Yes.
John Marshall,
Yes.
Dick Sauerman.
Yes.
Jeremy Taylor.
Yes.
Yes. Good to go. Yes, sir. Next on the agenda is petition 25-29, Creekside Outdoor Living petitioner /1886 Church Foundation Corp. Owner. Request is a special use. Purpose is to allow residential in a building with office use. Location is 400 East North Street. There's someone here to speak to the petition?
My name is John Heidbreder, and I'm a member of the Church Foundation Board.
Can you
Yeah.
give an address to please? sir?
Am I speaking out of turn?
No, you're okay. We need your name and address for the record. And
The
then you can
address
go ahead.
is 400 East North Street. The foundation's name is 1886 Church Foundation Corporation.
Okay.
And I just want to introduce to Mike Arnold, who's president of Creekside, who is a prospective buyer of the property relative to new development. We're particularly here at this meeting tonight relative to change of use, relative to the adaptation of both the church and the school, particularly the church for office space, office use, and in conjunction with the school conceivably as residential, renovated residential. And we as a foundation believe that Creekside's idea of this change of venue is valid, and we'd like you to consider that. I want to introduce you to Mike Arnold.
Hello,
Hi,
I gotta say the address.
if you would please,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, Mike Arnold, 384 East 111th Court, Point. I typed something up. You want to hear the monologue?
It's your opportunity.
Okay,
sir.
all right. So, good evening. Thank you for the members of the Board of Zoning Appeals. That opportunity to present. My name is Mike Arnold on behalf of Creeks Outdoor Living. I am a local business owner and work at Crown Point. And I'm here because we believe in the future of 400 East North Street. This building, the former Trinity Lutheran Church and School, has stood in the community for over 100 years. In recent years, it's become known more for damage and decay rather than beauty and history. The city previously planned to demolish it, but instead of tearing it down, we see another path, one of restoration, preservation, and new purpose. We submitted a plan to convert the school building into 4 to 6 residential units and repurpose the church into modern office suites, spaces that would serve local professionals and small businesses. We're seeking your approval for a zone change to mixed use and they're on special use variance to allow dwelling units. And this is not a flip, it's a full rehab. If you've been in it or been around it, you know that. We're fully prepared to bring the property up to code, and we engage experienced structural engineers, contractors, and preservation experts. We've heard community concerns. Some want it torn down. Some doubt whether a project of this scale will actually be completed. We understand that, and our answer is that we're not speculators. We're local. We already operate business here. The investment's personal. Committed to work with Indiana Landmarks and the 1886 Church Foundation to preserve the architectural character of the space for generations to come. We believe this project brings real tangible value to Crown Point, preserves a historic landmark rather than erasing it, creates housing in a walkable central location, stimulates small business activity, and adds professional office space, and it engages local tradespeople, keeping the economic benefit here in town.
All right. Mr. Watson, staff report?
Petitioner is requesting special use of lodging residential dwelling units within the same structure as office services. Property is located at 400 East North Street on the northeast corner of North Street and Grant Street. Parcel is bordered by R3 residential to the north, south, and west. OS1 office services to the east. Approved, petitioner will operate office services residential dwellings in the same structure. Planning has verified that the business use will be for offices, not for vehicle or equipment storage. If approved, property will be presenting at Plan Commission to request a change of zone to OS1, neighboring business to the east. Calls of support and demonstration have been received by the Planning Department. All notices have been properly sent out by certified mail. The notice has been published in the newspaper. Planning Department recommends approval of petition 25.
Thank you very much. Mr. Taylor, any questions to the petitioner?
I don't believe so. Do you have design plans yet for the building?
We had something that was drafted. Yeah, we have skill drawings.
Yeah, they got by Kurt Gardner, architect in Plymouth.
Okay. Yeah, we were going to be utilizing that. I mean, potentially slight modifications based off of our specific uses, but yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Just I'll defer for now.
Mr. Marshall, any questions to the petitioner?
Yeah. Well, I'm in favor of repurposing buildings if they can be saved. I have been in that building, and you obviously have too. You're trying to buy it.
Yeah.
It seems like an extensive remodeling job. I mean, it's rough. It's so you want to put offices in the church part.
Yeah.
What size, what size offices or what exactly is the office part?
That part's not fleshed out yet. For us, to go into extensive kind of stuff like that is kind of contingent on if we can get this thing rezoned.
Okay.
And pay the proper people and get in there and do all the stuff. So
And then in the residential part, how many apartments or what are you doing?
yeah, 4 to 6, I believe.
6?
4 to 6. I think the 6 would be. Sorry, I have a partner on this who couldn't be here, could have answered this better, but there were 4 there originally, 4 residential units that are obviously completely deteriorated by now, and there is a pretty decent basement that we want to kind of investigate, see if it's possible to get 2 units down there, but not entirely sure about that. But again, that's entirely contingent on if it even can be rezoned to that, so.
What kind of letters are remonstration letters have we received? What seems to be their summary of concerns?
Kind of oddly enough, we had someone who just simply wants the building torn down and then the property left vacant. Well, that's begun to ever.
Oh, that's
And then,
okay.
Another one who.
Are they interested in buying it?
They are not.
Oh, okay.
And another one who called up who essentially the same thing, does not want any type of business to go in, is interested in having residents, feels the building needs to be torn down. Does not want townhomes, does not want single business. Once again,
Maybe they can
some-
partner up, buy it together.
Maybe.
Maybe if you know,
Yeah, but at the same time, we also have numerous people who reached out and they are happy that someone's even considering attempting the same.
well, like I said, it is an eyesore at this point, and I'm glad to see there's interest in the building. I mean, I was on the historical board for a while with Mr. O'Haley. He was also on it at one point. And I've seen buildings that you would think would be a tear down and they brought them back. I wouldn't have spent the time or the money to do it, but you get people that want to do it. So, I mean, I applaud you that you want to give this a shot.
They're not making any more land, you know.
No,
So
they're
you gotta-
not.
Gotta grab what you can get.
Now, you're a local guy. Are you the Creekside landscape guy or?
Yes,
Okay, well, you run a pretty respectable business, so.
I appreciate that.
I know who you are, so I think it is a nod in favor of this, because, I've talked to you actually on the phone.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, so I've,
Sorry, I talked to hundreds of people.
well, I know, but we had a nice conversation one day about some things, but anyways, I'm glad to see I made an impression on you, but, but I'm concerned about, not getting it done and funding and all those things. Those are your problems, but I think you could pull it off. You
Yeah.
seem motivated, so I would be in favor of it. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. O'Haley.
I think it's a great idea. If it's done right, have a local guy in you that, it's not somebody from out of town that
Right.
just talks a good game and then just leaves us holding the bag.
Yeah.
That's my worst fear is, having the project started and for whatever reason, you get in there and you say, oh, man, there's no way this is gonna work. What is your plan if you get in there and you find, because you know with restoration,
100%.
the minute you tear something out,
You find
more
100
problems.
problems.
Problem.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
what-
I mean,
what is your anticipation if you get into a situation?
yeah, 100%. So, I mean, I'd want to get, my own structural person to go in there and do a thorough review of everything. Make sure, okay, number one, I'm not going to pour a bunch of money into this thing and it's, structurally. it's
So
not-
you have not had a structural,
There has been a structural,
Structure was done, I think about the 2021, I think it was 2021, by Doug Homer at the time.
Yeah.
And he told
yeah. So I'm basing this off of, reports and stuff that I've already been provided, but
but you're gonna get your own.
I still want to.
And if you do, if it comes to pass that, no, the report came back and just not gonna work, what would you do at that point?
I mean, if somebody tells me, hey, structurally, this thing is not sound to do what you're wanting to do, I mean, we would then have no choice, but then we'd have to fund probably removing it because now it's going to be exactly what it is right now. And in that case, it'd be the worst case scenario. I would hate for this to happen because I like the conceptual of the project, but tear it down and then figure out, okay, what else can we do there? What else makes sense for that area for, whether it's storefront or if it's, some sort of office space, similar to what it's going to be zone 2 now. Yeah, and that's a road I haven't fully gone down yet because everything again kind of hinges on the approval of this thing being the special use. So if that worst case scenario came to reality, then yeah, I mean, I still like the land, right? And I think that it's a good neighborhood, close to the square. So work with the city likely and come up with a good solution. So
So the greater plan is to rezone this to OS1 or opposite. But you need a special use for residential.
yeah, because the
Is that
church would be
accurate,
the,
That's correct. Josh? Okay. All right, so that's where we're going.
yeah,
So it's gonna be rezoned hopefully to OS1. And then you need the special use for the residential component of it.
in the school portion, yeah.
And you are not going to anticipate any more than 4 to 6 units in that residential component.
I don't know. I don't believe so.
You don't know how many?
No, it wouldn't be more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if the special use comes back that, it's approved for 4 to 6 residential uses in that building, you wouldn't have a problem with that.
No.
Because
I think it's, that's all the space allows for.
Here's my real problem. I don't have anything, you want us to take a leap of faith with you. You say you have drawings and everything. We haven't seen them. I'm sure they're effective and I'm sure they're efficient. And I'm sure they're what you would like to see. We haven't seen this. We're kind of flying here. So
Okay. There are some drawings that have been created that I could get sent over to, yeah.
well, that would have been helpful. Because then we could see, we'd have some place to start from.
For sure.
And build from.
Yeah.
With that. But you wouldn't have any problem if the approval had the residential 4 to 6 units limit on it.
Yeah, no.
Alrighty, that's all I got.
Real quick, just for the record though, does that 4 to 6 limit, does that include if the basement can be built out as well? Because I know that had been brought up earlier, is they still want to see if the basement for building code would allow for another few units.
How many units would you conceivably put in that basement, if you could?
I can't see there being more than 2.
So maximum of 8.
I think as of right now, it'd be a maximum of 6.
Yeah, I thought you said you had 4 existing,
Yeah, and then 2.
and then you
potentially
were
the
going to see the
basement,
basement
Just
to
wanted
be
make sure
2.
it was on the same-
Okay, all right.
So if the basement can be done, it would be a total of 6.
yeah. Right, yeah,
Otherwise, it could end up just being the 4.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
That's the way I thought I heard, so.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mr. Sauerman?
Well, I have to say, I have a deep attachment to this building. My family started this church in Crown Point. Didn't build this facility. And I went to school here. I'm very familiar with it back then. I have not been in it purposely since, even when it was apartments. I don't know what they did to the church sanctuary part. I've heard that they put another floor up there. I guess that's my first question here to you. So will there be multiple floors in the old sanctuary part then?
Likely, just kind of continuing what structurally is already there, yeah.
Okay. And then on the school side, there were 2 classrooms upstairs and 2 downstairs.
Yeah.
Two grades per classroom. Are you splitting those in 2 then to come up with 2 apartments for each with that, or what's the thought process
Yeah,
there?
that part is where I wish my partner was here on this, because he had all all that part. I believe it's just that it's 2 up and then the 2 down. So if it was 6, it would be in the basement. So I think to answer that question, I don't believe it'd be splitting those.
Okay, all right. And then I wasn't part of the presentation that you guys made to the mayor a few weeks ago, but I know John is very concerned about keeping the architecture somewhat similar. So what are your plans from an exterior standpoint to look backwards, but yet your needs? Can you kind of go over that a little bit?
Yeah, obviously requires a ton of tuck pointing. A lot of the facade needs to be repaired. So as much as possible, keeping everything, restoring everything that's there, and not, even wherever there's, stained glass that I saw, like, it's possible trying to keep that. I'm on a landscape company, so it better look good from the outside, the curb appeal. But the goal would be to just make it as new as possible, but preserving the historicity of it. What I think about is I actually own a property in Lowell that me and the same partner have renovated. It's in the historic district in Lowell, and there are these 1800s properties, but they're just updated with black trim around the windows and just that kind of stuff. It's updated. It's safe and it's structural and lasts another 150 years. That's kind of the vision that I've had for it.
Is there gonna be any type of steeple back again, or is that just gonna remain as it is now? I'm just curious.
There is not, right? Oh, there's a tower with the bell in there still. The bell still
Yeah,
exists.
it
Yeah.
used to be higher, but, okay,
Okay.
that has nothing to do with this. I'm just
Yeah.
curious, that's all. All right,
Yeah.
well, I wish you the best on this. I'd like to see it happen, so.
Yeah.
This is a public meeting. If there's anyone here that would like to speak to this petition, it would be an opportunity to come forward. Hi, if you'll state your name and address.
My name is Connie Sweats. I live at 317 East North Street, which is directly diagonal from the church. Sounds like you guys are in favor of this, so, but I'm just gonna, from my perspective, I am thrilled that they're going to do this. The church building empty is a better place than it was when it was apartments by the previous owner. It just being empty improved that corner. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but there was a lot of stuff going on there that when we bought our house across the street, we were blown away that it was going on. My house, when I bought it, I paid $120,000 for it 9 years. It's now worth $400,000. When they first looked at our house, they said, I don't even know if this is inhabitable. And now I have a beautiful home. I mean, if I showed you the pictures from what it looked like then and what it looks like now. So I have all the faith that if somebody cares enough about a property and wants it to look good, they can do amazing things with it if the bones are there. I've talked to several of the neighbors, and there are some who want to just see it torn down, but they want it then to just be kind of like the corner of Indiana and North, where it's just an open field and it doesn't do anything, or more parking for downtown, but they won't even walk from the library to downtown. So I don't know that they'd walk from my house. But there are a lot of people who also, as I talked to them about what Creekside was talking about, were very excited about it. Thought, wow, now we're gonna have to up our game with our landscaping to make it look good once they get done with theirs. So there are a lot of people who are for it. I don't know that they always speak out so much, but in my opinion, it's maybe a 70-30-ish that I get, like tear it down, or yes, if it can be saved and they can really do something with it, we want it done. So I'd appreciate it if you guys would really consider it and approve it, because we're for it.
You need to recommend a landscaping.
I was gonna do that, but that's okay, so.
I do need work with my landscaping, but it is better than it was. So
Thank you very
that's
much.
all I got.
Is there anyone else like to speak to the petition?
Hi, my name is Janine Letcher. I'm the Lake County Historical Society president, the Indiana Room Historian Specialist at the Crown Point Community Library, and recent appointee as the Lake County Historical Historian by the Indiana Historical Society. So I have a lot of knowledge of this and passion that I bring to it. I also, through the library, do a Crown Point historic tour. And the church is one of the places that we stop. And throughout the tours that I've been doing them for 10 years, I always have stories of, I was baptized there, my family was there, people were married and things. And on the most recent tour, I was able to, they were, the last few years, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. We're working with the city, John's working, things like that. And my most recent tour was a week ago today. And I said, someone asked, do you know what's going on? I said, well, we have some things coming through, and there's a company that wants to restore it. And of the 20 people on the tour, all 20 of them were like, yes, that's what we want. They want to see it preserved. They want to see it continue to add value to the community. It is the oldest church building still in existence in Crown Point. Trinity Lutheran is not the oldest church organization, but the oldest church building here. Other older churches have built newer buildings. So, and just to kind of put this in there, preservation of buildings is progress. And so I think we need to remember that, and I hope you consider that. so that we can move forward with this valuable project and save a very valuable piece of our history. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak to the petition? Anyone online? Second opportunity? Third and final? We'll close the public portion. I'll bring it back to the board.
Mr. Chairman, I have worked with John Hyberger for many years. He has taught me restoration more than anybody else, and I forgot. He does a great job, and he will be the driving force, I'm sure, behind this. You know, we could always do a renovation, but there's a big difference to restoration. I know it's in bad shape, but I applaud you for, trying to take this on. And in that vein, I will make a motion for a favorable recommendation to the city council for this project with a maximum no more than 6 units, 6 residential units, and subject to the rezone to OS1 and incorporating all the findings of fact that you had filled out. Good luck.
I have a motion by Mr. O'Haley for a favorable recommendation. I have a second by Mr. Sauerman. Any further discussions? Mr. Secretary, for call roll, a yes is for a favorable recommendation.
Dan Rohaley,
Yes.
John Marshall,
Yes.
Dick Sauerman.
Yes.
Jeremy Taylor.
Yes.
Yes. So we will make a favorable recommendation to the city council where you'll need to be here to answer any of their questions.
July
Good,
7th.
July 7th. Good luck, and I share the sentiments of the others that, you have the passion, you have the desire. I hope you have the success in completing that project and keep that wonderful old building into a newer, wonderful old building, so. With that, I think we are at miscellaneous. Anything out there miscellaneous? Anyone on the board? Then I would happily take a motion for an adjournment. All in favor? Aye.